Hey, hello, my friends. Welcome back. So we're back at it again. Today was not a day that we expected, or at least I don't think most of you guys expected this. We had the Fed, Papa Powell, talk today, and he sounded a little bit more hawkish than dovish. So the market reacted to that, and we had what happened today with Bitcoin being down. Bitcoin was down in the beginning of the day anyway, so it's kind of anticipating that possible move there a little bit. The miners were in the red as well in the beginning. Some miners were in the green for part of the day, at least. Cleanspark for part of it, BitDeer as well. There might have been at least another one or two that were in the green as well. But otherwise, it was just a red day on the day. It ended up being red anyways, right, with all these guys. But what doesn't really change, I don't think it changes much, really, with Bitcoin and Bitcoin miners going forward. We'll talk about that here in a second. There's really not much news as far as from the miners side of things. Nothing being reported that's new. So we're still waiting on a couple press releases probably from like TeraWolf and Cypher for any HPCI plays. We haven't seen anything like that. And then, but that's basically it. We'll take a look at the latest enterprise metrics for the miners and we'll get into Q&A. So it should be an easy day. All right, but you guys know the drill here, not financial advice for entertainment only. Do your own research, full disclosure below that. Hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously. And I'm starting to sound like the guy, the speed talking guy, the fastest speaker in the world. Remember those little micro cars that he was in the speaker for? This was going back probably now 30 years. You guys probably don't remember that, but this is 30 years ago when those micro cars were really popular. He was one of those fastest talkers at that point. I'm nowhere near that. Otherwise, you guys probably wouldn't understand anything. But so what do we have today? Today, we had a red day. It was red across the board, except for I see down below that we had DGHI, Digihost being up just 6%, which is surprising. I haven't really looked to see if there was any news on them, but overall, MicroStrategy, miners, Bitcoin were all down today. Bitcoin did bounce off the 100,000 support line here today. I think it got below it here a little bit. Yeah, it was a low of 99,939. We bounced above it and closed above it. That's a good sign. I'm not going to shy away from that. That is a good sign. We did hit that 100,000 mark. That is acting as support right now. On the new day going into Thursday right now, we did go a little bit below it as well. We got to a low of, 98,698. We are once again above it. But more or less, what is the moral story with Bitcoin here? Adoption. It's really about adoption in Bitcoin. So that's why I think this is basically a nothing burger with the Fed. Yes, the Fed did decrease the fund rate by 25 basis points, which was kind of expected. That was signaled that they were going to do that. But now going forward into 2025, instead of having maybe 4 or 6 rate cuts, they're talking about maybe having 2. So that is a decrease there, right? Their mandate is to have full employment and keep the inflation under control as well. So they got their work cut out for them. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's not an easy situation they're in. I remember just a couple months ago, going back maybe 5, 6, maybe even 8 months ago, people were all concerned about recession, that we're going into a recession here. I still don't see that happening here in 2025. We'll have to wait and see what the Trump administration does. Could that push us into a recession? I still don't think so. I think they're going to do everything that they can in their power to move the economy forward, get jobs going, get pricing under control and all that stuff. We'll see how tariffs get enacted and all that stuff. But I'm still not seeing a recession here, at least for the next possible, I would say 12 to 24 months going forward. So I don't have a concern with that. And with Bitcoin, the big thing is adoption. We still have Dennis Porter out there pounding the doors, basically pounding the sand with all of the legislators of the states, of the U.S. government as well, and I'm sure other bodies as well that he can talk to about getting Bitcoin as a strategic reserve on their balance sheets. That's continuing to happen. We're seeing that also across other countries that's happening. So the adoption phase of Bitcoin is just accelerating, I think, going forward, which is going to propel Bitcoin going higher. Now, with Bitcoin coming down today, could we use a little break, a little pullback? Sure. I think what Bitcoin has done here since November, the beginning of November, basically November 5th, it has been on a nice rally here. It is up from the bottom here to the top, more or less. It's up 60% here. Could we use a little break? Yeah. 5, 10, 15% break here. What would that mean actually for us if we did come down from the top here to 15%? A 15%, 10% break would be at roughly, or would that get us to about 97%? or 97%, 97,500, something like that. A 15% drawdown would get us down to approximately 91, 92,000, something like that. So is it possible that we could come down there? Yeah, it's definitely possible. So if you have dry powder on the side that you want to take advantage of, this would possibly be the time if we do come down to do so, basically. Dollar cost averaging some more onto these miners and Bitcoin in general as well, and prepare for the rally that we're going to have here coming into 2025 as well. I don't think this is over. I don't think this is nowhere near over from where we're going to end up with Bitcoin and the miners as well. So I'm not too worried about this. You're not going to get a complete rally where we're just going straight up all the time. You need little hiccups in the road as well, or little bumps in the road. And this is just one of those bumps in the road, right? We've had a nice rally. We need a little pullback. And this was just something that was a catalyst for it. The news that came out today with the Fed and just being a little bit more hawkish than we expected, this is going to be the cause of it. So I'll take it. I'll take a little pullback. I think that's going to be healthy for the long term. So I'm not too worried about it, like I said before, and we are going to continue to go up higher past this. Now, how long is it going to take? It might take a couple of days to maybe a week or two before the market then realizes, we're almost 2 weeks away from the end of the month anyway. So that'll be right around the time when people might be selling also Bitcoin, securities, stocks, all this stuff anyways, to lock in profits for the year. There might be some tax loss harvesting happening here as well. So that's always going to be a case for Bitcoin here, and not only Bitcoin, but stocks in general. So this kind of coincides with that. I think it just gives it another catalyst to bring it down a little bit more, and then start the nice new year of 2025 in a nice, healthy, probably part of the cycle. Yeah. So I'll leave it at that. I'm not, like I said, I'm not too worried about this. I'm looking to actually buy more. I'm trying to look at my finances and see if I can squeeze some money out someplace and actually buy some more either this week or next week if we do drop some more. But I'll let you guys know if I do anything like that going forward. All right, so that's it on the miners. Well, really Bitcoin here. Miners, like I said, they were all down today. Cleanspark, like I said, was trying to get positive. It was like 6% in the green, excuse me, in the beginning of the day. But then it fell back down after the Papa Powell spoke, and we had everything kind of come crashing down a little bit here. But Bitfarms was down 12%. BitTier was down almost 8.5%. Cypher was down 13%. Cleanspark was down 8.4%. We had CORZ down being almost 10%. Hive was down 11.4%, almost 11.5%. Hut 8 was down 11.7%, almost 11.8%. IREN down 11.6.5%. Mara was down 12.15%. Riot down 14%, and Wolf was down 14%, almost 15% at that point. So Cleanspark looks like out of the big guys fared kind of like the best here, along with BitTier being down almost same spot. So little repricing, not a big deal. I think we're going to be fine going forward. Just we got to be patient. Okay. Now let's take a look at the network hash really quick as well. See what's going on with that, and let's see if we can refresh this data here. So what we got as of the latest, that has come down here a little bit more to 776 on the 7-day average. The 30-day average looks like it is still trading a little bit sideways here. 759 was 760 exahash. Not a big deal there. Bitcoin right now for the month of December is still up 4%. So it's, I mean, we're still up in the green. We'll see where we actually end up at. We might actually go up maybe to like 10, 15% by the end of the month before everything is said and done, and then fall back down even more at that time to close out the year just a little bit in the green here. But yeah, I'm not too worried about it. So that is it. Enterprise metrics here really quick. This is the latest as of today with the miners coming down in price. We can see that nothing has really changed that much with regards to the miners. There's quite a few of them that are still way undervalued, and quite a few that are still way overvalued based on their operations here. So we're seeing the same thing. And then sometimes I've heard a couple questions about these numbers here. These numbers over here are where they started the month at. So if you look at them, Hive has stayed and being the most undervalued here at the one spot here right now. For current hash rate, Bitfarms was at number 3. They're at number 2 spot. Riot was number 5. They're at number 3 spot now. IREN was at number 6 spot. They're at number 4 spot. Cleanspark was at number 4. They actually moved up to the number 5 spot here. Marathon was number 2 at the beginning of the month. They are now in number 6 spot. Cypher was number 9. So some of these guys have flopped around a little bit here as well. But you can see the same thing over here for the future hash rate as well, where you got quite a few that are way undervalued and quite a few that are way overvalued. Right? So we're still waiting, like I said in the beginning of the video, we're still waiting on TeraWolf and Cypher to put out a release. Hopefully they put out a release for some kind of a HPC customer there for them on it. Okay. I don't know if there's anything else we need to cover. I'm going to look over my sheets tomorrow to see if there is anything else that we missed that we haven't covered yet this month on all the metrics that we do for this, and we'll get into that tomorrow, and then that'll be it. So let's get into your guys' Q&A side of things here, see if you guys have any thoughts, questions on all this stuff happening. So we'll make it a pretty short and easy day. We're only 10 minutes in. Take a little time for the Q&A side of things, and we'll be golden. I might actually get some time to watch a movie or something like that tonight, which would be nice. I haven't watched a new movie in a long time. If you guys have any recommendations for movies that I should see, definitely put it in the comments. I'll take a look to see what's interesting out there. All right, as always, you guys know the drill. Questions, preface them with a question mark or a Q, and then I'm going to scroll up a little bit here to see if there's any questions, and we'll roll on down. If there aren't too many questions, we'll make it easy. Let's see what we got here. That's from the beginning. Let's see. All right, let's see. Trying to find a question. Here we go. Ahmed asks, what program are you using to look at the charts? The charts, you're talking about this one over here. I believe you're asking about this one here. So this is more graphs and more, what do they call these? Signals, I guess you could say, or whatever you want to call it. But I do pay extra for that. But it's great. You can do this. You can do a lot of great stuff with TradingView. And it is pretty much, if you do the subscription plan, I think you get pretty much up real-time pricing on it as well. So that is always great to take a look there. So that's TradingView if you want to take a look at it. Or you could be you could be asking also on this one. So you're talking about this program here for the charts. Let's see here, this one, right where my spreadsheets are. This is through Apple Numbers that I use. And the reason I use Apple Numbers is because it makes it much more easier to do visually appealing graphs and data, like picking Cleanspark for instance, right? I could have tables in here, charts as well. So I got charts over here, I got tables down below as well. I can do all of that stuff, and it makes it a lot more easier to do that than it would in like Excel. So that's the one I'm using there, Apple Numbers. Okay, back to the questions. Question comment, bought Bitfarms today at 260, way too good. 10,000 shares now, very nice. So 260, is that going to be, I'm guessing that's Canadian, I think, because it went down below $2 here. So I'm guessing you're buying in Canadian, but that's great. Let's see, not a movie, but Landman TV series is great. What is that on? Is that on Netflix or someplace like that, or on regular channels? Let me know where that's on. Okay. What streaming services do you have for movie recommendations? I have basically Netflix. I also have, what is it called now? HBO. I think it's called something else now. They're calling it something else. But I have HBO. I also have Prime. That's another one that I have. And then I also have YouTube TV. So those are the ones that I have. Let's see. Okay, if you have Netflix, Seb, Carry On is a great movie. Yeah, we watched that. Well, my wife mostly watched it. I was doing work in my office, and I could see the TV, and I was watching it as well. But we watched that on Sunday, I think it was. That was a great movie. Okay, let's see. Did you watch the interview with Rex and the Cleanspark team? I didn't watch the interview with Rex or Cleanspark team. I watched the interview from, the other channel. I'm drawing a blank name on it right now, where they had, Gary V from Cleanspark and Zach as well. Mining Pod, that's the one. I watched that one today. Question, you mentioned that this is not over yet. Where do you expect will bottom out on BTC and some of the miners? Miners, I don't know where they're going to bottom out, but they're going to definitely go down. Bitcoin goes down. Bitcoin, I think we could possibly see a correction from the top where we hit 108,000. From there, we could go down about maybe 10%, right? So that would get us to around 98, 95,000, something like that. And then if we go down 15%, we could possibly go down to like 92,000 at that point. Somewhere around there is where I would think. Do you think Hive is at the moment one of the top 3 undervalued miners? Yeah, I still think that they are undervalued. Even, I'd like to see them grow more. I've said this before. I keep saying it all the time. They have great operations, great, really responsible with their offerings, not offerings, but with their cash management side of things. So they always do really good there. It's just I would like to see them grow more. I think growth is important here. But they're doing a good job here. They're getting to 13, 15 exahash next year sometime. That'll at least keep them with their goal, which is to be at like 1% of the network hash rate. All right. Question, will a broader equity market sell-off hold miners down even if Bitcoin takes off? No, I think they'll follow Bitcoin at that point. And again, if we have a broader market sell-off, how much of a sell-off are we talking about? 5, 10, 15%, maybe 20% at the most here? And then we're going to go back up, right? Investors are looking to make money, right? So they're going to take some profits now. It's the end of the year as well. You're going to have people reallocating things as well, rebalancing also. Some of these retirement funds and everything else are going to be rebalancing their positions because they're up huge on some positions. They're going to do that at the end of the year here. So that's always going to be part of it as well. Okay, question, how come you aren't buying non-Bitcoin and non-Bitcoin miner stocks? You are missing out on so many opportunities. I'm sure that there are many opportunities out there. Time is limited, and I decided to only really concentrate on a very niche sector, you could say, right? Miners are very niche as it is. Very specific sector, which I enjoy this sector because we get all the data from these guys here, and I can see what's going on. Whereas some of the other companies that... well, everything else pretty much in the sector, or not in the sector, but everything else in the market, you only get updates pretty much. Either they put out a press release or you get it at the end of the quarter results, right? So you're always waiting a little bit behind as far as what's going on there. But with the miners, you can't see everything what's going on there. That's the reason why. Okay. All right, Landman is a great series with Billy Bob Thornton. Okay, where's that at? There was another great series, Billy Bob Thornton, that was on Amazon Prime. I'm drawing a blank on the name right now, but he was basically a lawyer, down on his dumps a little bit lawyer, but that was a great show as well. If you guys remember the name of that one was great. Question, what price you see IREN at in Q 2025? Bitcoin is at the same price. Would you exit all your IREN at 20? No. If Bitcoin is still at the same price and they're at the same price as it is right now, no. I would still not exit at that point. But I don't think that's going to happen. Let's see. Is it just me or is it Seb's mic cutting off on and off? Let's see. I mean, it's plugged in. Everything is looking good on my side. It might be the connection with YouTube sometimes. All right. Have you added or sold any ETH lately? No, I haven't sold ETH or bought ETH since 2017, 2018. I haven't done anything to that. Okay. Opinion, we need to wait until year's end report and the Q4 earnings reports. Along with that, you have Trump getting into office, which is reserve and more. Miner outperform from here, in my opinion. I believe, yeah, I would be with you here on that. If miners reduce dilution via convertible note plays, could this lead to less price drops, 80-90% in the next bear market? No. If Bitcoin goes down, they're coming down as well. That has no impact on it. The impact that they have when they go down 89% is Bitcoin price coming down, making them less profitable. That's the reason why they go down. All right. Under yesterday's existing rate, BTC was able to get to 108,000. Today we get another cut. The only change is the indicated tech. Next year, 2 rate cuts versus 4. Why should this alter the cycle for BTC? It won't. I don't think it will alter the cycle for BTC. It's just something that investors were, I I mean, some investors that I've been hearing from, like CNBC, they were already talking about that they were expecting only 2 instead of 4. So that's kind of being priced in. I think just the tone of Papa Powell or Jerome Powell there was a little bit more hawkish than dovish. I think that's what kind of set off the market here this afternoon, especially, and that's why it kind of crashed down. But they kind of want to draw their line in the sand a little bit, especially with the new administration coming in place. That this is their way going forward. They want to definitely combat unemployment, and they want to combat inflation as well. But I think in the long run, things are still going to do very well. Can you please go over charts for 2020 December cycle where sell-off happened? Well, we had a sell-off a little bit last year as well. This time, 2020 cycle. Let me see here. We have this chart here, 2020 cycle in December. Well, we didn't have a sell-off in December. We had a large gain here in December. But we had a sell-off in 2021 in November, December, but we also peaked with Bitcoin in October of that year. So that was a little different here, right? I'm still comparing this current cycle that we're in to the 2015, 2016, and 2017 cycles where we had September's being in the green and then all of these months afterwards being in the green like we have currently. So it's looking like a similar setup. And then if that's the case, we would have possibly a red month of January here for us coming up in 2025. And then the rest is going to be much, much better for us. Yes, we'll have a couple months here and there, but they're not going to be in red. But overall, it would look a lot better if that's the way the cycle is going to repeat. Time will only tell on that side, though. Okay, let's see. Is there hope for Bitfarms? Yeah, I think there is hope for Bitfarms. Right, we're not happy with them pushing out their goals to get to 21 exahash or even getting 12 exahash by Q3. So that's the reason why the stock hasn't been performing well. I still own a lot of shares of Bitfarms as it is. And if they can continue to execute on their growth that they've now basically changed or updated their growth strategy, I think that's going to be fine. Bitcoin going up in value will also help as well. But yeah, we'll see. I think there's still hope for Bitfarms. Let's see. Question, comment. Yeah, you bought Bitfarms in Canadian. Canadian is so low, so it's not really worth buying. USD miners right now. USD to Canadian is 1.4. Crazy. I already have enough of Mara, Cleanspark, and IREN. Okay. Yeah, there is definitely, at one point, I think, earlier this year, I think the conversion was like $1.25 to $1 Canadian dollar, I think. Or, yeah, one Canadian, it was $1.25 Canadian dollars to $1. That was the conversion there. Let's see. Talked about that one already. So you guys are having audio issues, huh? It's got to be with the connection, I think. Because everything else here looks good on my end. Hey, Sib, did you have a chance to look at Bitfarms' latest ATM? It's not the ATM that they are getting an ATM, if I'm correct here. I looked at it yesterday, and it's just a update on the ATM that they have left. I think they have only like 86 million left of that ATM to pull on. So it's just an update on that, based that they were going to be buying Stronghold acquisition coming up here in the next quarter. So I think they were just doing that, some necessary paperwork for it to reflect that, I think. But I don't think it was a new ATM, unless I missed something there. Okay. In your view, which miners have the best R&R from now on for the rest of the cycle? Thank you. I would think some of the ones that have been not getting much love, right? Like the pure play miners, Marathon, Riot, Cleanspark, IREN even, Bitfarms as well, and maybe Hive. I would think that those guys would do very well going forward, especially if Bitcoin price goes up. So that's kind of the ones I'm sticking with and maybe looking to get into as well. Let's see, question. Digihost has partnered with Nano Nuclear to create a microreactor. Thoughts? That's actually very interesting there. We have seen other, I would say hyperscalers, right? Hyperscalers have been looking to get partnering with microreactors as well. And that's, I think in the next maybe, I wouldn't say right now, in like the next 5 years, I think we're still a little bit off from that. But I think in the next maybe post 5 to 10 years, we might see where The Bitcoin miners do get like these little micro nuclear reactors. But then we'll have to wait and see how does that play out in local communities, right? Do people want those things in there? I think nuclear is the way to go, actually, to be energy independent. But there's definitely a lot of opposition here. But I think that's changing over the last year or two or so. All right, movie recommendations. The Highwayman with Kevin Costner and Woody Harrelson. Recent movie on Netflix, I believe. I thought it was good. Okay, thank you. I'll definitely check it out. Okay. Did they use the last 87 million, or is there still additional 87 to use for the future? So you're talking about Bitfarms there. I think they still have 87 million remaining that they can pull on that ATM. Okay. Curious if the new government change can reverse some of the policies announced today. Also, if January 20th will be the catalyst for the bull run to pick up traction again. Possibly. Can they change some of the announced policies? I know they put out like a 1,700 page a bill or something like that, right? That they're supposed to be voting on in the next like 24 hours, which is just crazy. I don't know. I don't know if they can reverse it if it gets passed through. And maybe it doesn't get passed through. We'll see on that. But it'll be another year before we can possibly do something on that, I think. Okay. I think it's reasonable to wait for Cleanspark to fill its gap on the daily at 1076 before buying. I mean, anything is possible with these guys. Let's see here. I would say have some dry powder in just in case. We're at 1132 at 1070. I mean, you got the gap here you're talking about. Yeah, I might fill it tomorrow. If Bitcoin's in the red or something like that, we could definitely fill that. So I would be ready for it, if anything, right? So that might get filled. Some of the other miners have already filled their gaps, I think. Cypher here pretty much filled their gap here as it is. Do we have CORZ gap here as well? CORZ is a little bit lower at that point to fill a gap. I mean, yeah, we could come down and fill some of these gaps here. HUT's got a couple of these gaps here. It looks like one there. They got a gap there as well at 17. Could those come down? Possibly. Depending on what Bitcoin does here in the next probably week or two. So something to think about, but definitely be prepared if that does happen. I think it's a buying opportunity if it does happen, actually. I don't think this is a bad thing. If you haven't got into some of these positions that you want to get into earlier, this might be the time to do it, actually. All right. Okay, so, it was YouTube. Close out and came back in. Okay, yeah, so it's YouTube that's having the issues. Hi, Seb. At long term, what is the risk with the miners taking convertible notes? Thanks. The risk is, well, obviously Bitcoin possibly not going up in value. My seat's coming down. I don't know why my seat went down. Losing pressure. There we go. The reason I think one of the risks is Bitcoin coming down, right, in value, and we don't go to where we thought we were going to go on it, and they get into trouble that way potentially if they get over too many convertible notes and they don't have the funds to possibly buy those shares back at a certain point. That's the risk there. But if you're looking out, some of these notes are not due until 2030. I think there's plenty of time for that to not be a concern, really. Might be a very, very small concern, but nothing to worry about. All right. Which miners do you think won't do as well as the rest? Bottom three, in your opinion? Well, that's the interesting part with these guys, right? If you look at, let's go back to the enterprise metrics here, because I like using that one. So here it is, right? Some of these guys that are like BitDeer here, TerraWolf, Hut 8, they've been currently running on HPCI potential, right? If they come out that they do get something substantial from a customer there, whether it's a hyperscaler or not, that could be a catalyst to keep them going forward as well. If they don't, then they might underperform or they might actually drop because there's a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for here? A lot of, you guys know what I mean, right? It's just a lot of, I don't want to use the word hopium, but that's kind of the word that comes to mind actually. With some of these guys that they're going to get good customers and have a good HPCI play. If that doesn't happen, then they might be coming down here. So And then, I mean, the ones that are, geez, I mean, everybody's pretty much growing here. Even Hut 8 now is going to be growing into next year with their Bitcoin mining side of things. So that's not really a concern here. TerraWolf, if they don't get a great customer for HPCI, that would be a concern. That one might lag. BitDeer has a lot of potential going into like the second half of 2025 and into 2026. I know they have a lot of growth. They're also very vertically integrated with their own ASICs. So, I'm not too worried about that one here. CORZ got a huge deal with CoreWeave. I'm not too worried about that. Cypher, I think, is going to do fine as well. For the most part, I think which ones are going to lag now, that's a hard to ask, actually. I don't know which ones are going to lag more than others, because all you really need is one good story from one of these guys or a press release, and they're going to continue to go like a like a rocket to Mars, right? So that's not an easy one. The HPCI thing definitely puts a pretty big wrench into everything here when you look at the numbers and when you can try to compare them for Bitcoin mining and they're being valued on potential there. So it's always tougher there. Okay, let's go back. All right, question. I'm sure you spend a lot of time and resources to put all this information together for us every day. Is there any way we can support your channel? Appreciate your data-driven insights. Oh, you're very welcome. And yeah, it takes some time. I won't lie to you guys there. And you guys do support me from coming in here as well. And then we have the Patreon membership if you want to join there. It's not a lot. You can get a spot that's $4 or $5. You get everything, the same thing that somebody pays $8 for. So I leave those open for you guys to make it pretty inexpensive for the amount of data that I try to pull in for you guys. So you guys just coming in here is support. So I greatly appreciate it. What would be your price target for Cypher in Q1 of 2025? I mean, we could go up a little bit here from where it is. If Bitcoin goes to 150,000 Q1, then they should at least do it. I would think at least a double. Right, it's 50% on Bitcoin from where it's at, so they should at least do a double, 100% increase possibly at that point because they're going to be so much more profitable. And if they come out with a deal for HPCI, what is that deal going to look like? Is it going to be a big deal? Is it going to be a small deal? We don't know, and that's hard to price in. There's really no way to price that in unless you actually have the details on it. All right, I have some dry powder to deploy. I already have Bitfarms, and I'm looking to diversify. What is your top 2 miners you would buy with the most confidence now in order from 1 to 2? From 1 to 2, I would say with latest release or latest news from Cleanspark, I think that one might be one that's going to run now. It's been definitely held back because of fear of dilution. That fear of dilution is gone now. So I think that one might actually run the best. But then, yeah, I would say that one. That one followed by maybe IREN. And then you also have to take into consideration for like Marathon and Riot. They've been doing much better here with their operational uptime as well. And they've been also kept back. So it's tough. It's kind of like almost like a draw on those 4 there, I would think. Bitfarms as well. Bitfarms just needs to execute as well. That's kind of like number 5 there possibly on the list. The only thing is, again, like I keep saying, the HPCI deals. Right, one of these guys gets, not one of the guys I just mentioned, but somebody else gets an HPCI deal, and that one might outperform Cleanspark and IREN and Bitfarms and Riot and Mara. So that's always, like I said, a wrench in there. Let's see. Today the VIX got close to where it was in August of this year, and could this be capitulation? No, because what happened in August? Did we come down a little bit? Yeah, we came down a little bit, but then we went back up. So I don't think that's going to be the case. SK, thank you. Yeah, if you guys enjoy this, hit the like button. Let's see. Doesn't your sats per share forget the price relation? E.g., the Marathon stock is much more expensive than Bitfarms. Well, it just looks at how many they mined, right? Based on what they mined. So if we go to sats here, this is for last month, I believe. Yeah, this should be for last month. So this just looks at basically the number of shares that are out there and then what they actually mined here. So Marathon came in number 1 with 275 sats per share mined, whereas Bitfarms came in at 45. Bitfarms also has a lot more shares. That's part of the reason there. And they also mined less. So that goes all into it. So if you're looking at, I mean, there's definitely quite a few metrics you could take a look at to see which miners are generating the most per share potentially. right? How are they being valued per share or per enterprise value as well? You can look at all those things. But this is one of those that's out there you can take a look at, right? Okay. Okay. How many extra hash does Stronghold have that will be rolling into Bitfarms total? Not much, I think. With Bitfarms moving, what was it now, 20,000 machines into Stronghold's facility, I think Stronghold was possibly getting rid of some of the older machines that they had there. I don't have their spreadsheet pulled up, and I think I even got rid of Stronghold here because they're getting bought out by Bitfarms. But they had older generation machines, 100 terahash. I think they had some, maybe 140, not much. And then they also were hosting some machines as well for somebody else. So I think all of that stuff is going to be moved out. So I don't think they're going to be adding in too much. I would say maybe like 500 petahash to maybe 1 exahash, maybe. Okay, let's see here. Maybe a Christmas movie to get festive. Die Hard. Die Hard was great. I love Die Hard. Die Hard 1 and 2 and 3 were great. Yeah, that one, that's a great one. That's a classic. Let's see. I remember years back it was Hut 8, Wolf, Bitfarms, Riot, and Mara. I remember years back what? I'm not sure what you mean there. Let's see. If MicroStrategy is a better play than miners, why would anyone invest in miners? Who's saying that MicroStrategy is a better play? Has it done better here recently? Yes, but I still think from this current phase that we're in right now to possible top, I think the miners will actually do better going forward. Okay. Thoughts on leveraged Bitcoin and MicroStrategy stocks like BitX and SDX versus miner stocks? I'm looking to buy more, but can't decide between miners or the two I just mentioned. BitX, yeah, I mean, you're going to get at least 2x on Bitcoin, right? So Bitcoin goes up 100%, you're going to get 200% basically on that. Whereas the miners, I think, still have a higher multiple of an X to go up, but it's also more volatile in that regard with the miners, I think. All right. Let's see here. Unfortunately, the miners did not perform close to previous cycle. Well, the cycle's not over yet. This is one part that I don't understand with people saying that the miners are junk and all this stuff when we're not even through the cycle yet. Wait for the cycle to end, and then we'll definitely reevaluate how did the miners do, if they did well or did not do as well. I don't think they're going to do as great as last cycle. You have a lot more companies in the space now than you ever had before. You had Mara go up 70x basically from the bottom to the top, last cycle. Are we going to see that with some of these miners here now? No. I mean, we've seen some miners that are at least 10x right now. Could they go up another 5x, 3x? Yeah, I think so, but it's going to be definitely hard to see some of these miners go up 70x from the bottom to the top unless Bitcoin really does go past 200, 250,000 at that point. All right, question Seb. Okay, a little break or worried. Healthy pullback, but miners are where they were when BTC was in the high 40s. When do you think the 2 to 5x is coming? I think it's still coming in the next couple weeks, months going forward here. I don't think we're done with this. Yes, they've been held back. Not all, but some have been held back. Some have done actually very, very well, but that was mostly based on the HPCI potential there. That has catapulted some of these guys up in stock price. So it's been a little bit different, I will admit that. But I'm still thinking that the miners will rip eventually here, especially if Bitcoin goes up to 150,000, 200,000, and maybe beyond that as well. Let's see. Terry says BTC has gaps at 78 and 80,000. Yes, that doesn't mean it has to get filled right away. Bitcoin can go up much higher from here and fill it later on if it needs to. It's happened last cycles as well. Let's see here. Yeah, Chester says, just tuned in. You're talking about the micro machines guy. Yeah, I remember because so you're my age roughly. Let's see. Okay. Wonder if Riot having an appointed member of Bitfarms board having an effect on PPS. Also, I can't find Riot anywhere as an insider holder. Yeah, because they're at 19%. I don't know if they're going to be listed as an insider. I mean, they should be probably listed as an insider, but it's pretty well known that they are. Okay. Let's Question, comment. Green day tomorrow for miners. They will all recover. Bitcoin already recovering. Miners were already in the green after hours today, right? We'll see where Bitcoin goes, but maybe we might recover. We'll see. How is MicroStrategy getting to 3650? Who said 3650? Oh, MicroStrategy 3650 pure play miners are lagtards. I don't know how that's going to happen. I mean, they're going to have to buy a heck of a lot more Bitcoin to get to that price valuation. That's for sure. Question, in 2023, miners outperformed BTC. 2024, BTC outperformed miners. Not all miners. Some miners, yes. Do you think 25 miners could outperform going forward? I do think so, especially Trump being pro-energy independence and AI ND miners getting deal. Yeah, I think 2025 is going to be more the year for the miners. Let's see here. Seb, what future exahash are you using for IREN and enterprise value future exahash? Please make it 50 exahash. Also, maybe reduce for Bitfarms. I am using what has been reported as being bought. They have the option to buy more, right? But they haven't bought it yet. So that's what I'm using there. It's whatever's being reported as being purchased on all these guys here. All right. What metrics do you think are the main drivers for the miner prices, exahash, BTC mine shares? I think it was shares dilution was a big thing here in this past year with the miners. We saw HPCI mania happening here this year as well, right? That was a catalyst that was driving a lot of these guys up as well. It wasn't their performance on Bitcoin mining, it was HPCI potential. But I would think that growth, operation uptime, HODL even as well, could be added to that. Those are the kind of things that I would be thinking would be driving a stack up higher, because the more exahash you have, the better operations you have, the more you're generating of Bitcoin, which means then you're having higher revenues, which then could also mean that you're having better profits as well. So those are the types of things I would think would drive it, but it hasn't really been playing out that way so far this year, for some of these guys at least. Let's see. Do you think this is healthy? Is it healthy how much BTC and MicroStrategy is buying? I get they are creating a lot of liquidity for BTC and miners, making huge profits, but could it be a monopoly? No. I mean, what is MicroStrategy at? Like at 2% of the Bitcoin out there or something like that, even less than that, I think. So no. Okay. Let's see. Riot drop of 15% seems like a good buy. What did you buy? I have not bought anything yet. I'm trying to scrounge up some cash to buy some more later on, maybe tomorrow, Friday, or next week. Okay. Let's see here. I sold all my shares in Bitfarms. I don't understand, Sebastian, with their cheap hydropower. Bitfarms should be making money hand over fist. Just don't understand. Yeah. The big thing for them is they had older generation miners. They are getting those swapped out. There was a bunch of FUD in the beginning of this year for them with Paraguay, right? Taxes in Canada, taxes in Paraguay as well. The board was questionable there. They fired their CEO. The CEO sued them. What else do we have here? We got a new CEO. Riot's trying to buy them out. Hostile takeover. I mean, it was just one thing after another that was keeping the stock down. And then also them postponing their targets for 21 exahash. That didn't help things. So it's just been one thing after another. Okay. Let's see. What else do we have here? All right. Let's see here. Hi, Seb. For 3 to 4x leverage play for the miners, why BTC needs to be 200,000? Why, while each and every other crypto game is already 3 to 4 or 5x? What are you talking about, like altcoins and things like that? Yeah, I mean altcoins. How much? I mean, that's being driven more by just word of mouth, I think, and publicity and hype than anything else. I mean, so eventually those things will crash down. Whereas the miners, at least you get data every month out of those guys, and sometimes you get data a couple times a month out of them, so you at least can see how they're doing. With some of the old coins, I mean, what data do you really get out of those guys? Okay. Next question here. What is the AI HPC potential for Hive currently? Would Hive also be a target for the big hyperscalers? Not really. Hive has facilities in Canada. They're building out in Paraguay as well. I don't think they have anything in the United States right now, but I think they're working on something there. Correct me if I'm wrong there. But their sites, yeah, were originally for, for Ethereum mining with GPUs, different setups. They would have to do the same thing like a lot of these guys would have to do. They would have to retrofit their buildings. And it also depends on where they are located from, like metropolitan areas. Chris has definitely switched from Riot to Cleanspark now. Why is Cleanspark so amazing, Sebastian? I wouldn't say that they're so amazing. I think they're just a great operator. They've done a great job of growing from 100 petahash in January of 2021 to being now like the second largest miner. So that's kind of why. Question: pure play miners are still at the same price at low from BTC 49 to 100. Yes, we had the halving event. That is going to affect the miners. It does it. Well, it did it the last cycle as well. We had the same thing happening where they started actually running like right around this time. So that's going to happen because if you're generating $50 million a year, or not a year, a month, and then you get that cut in half to 25. That's going to have an impact on the stock. There's no way of getting around that. Even Bitcoin going up, right? You need to generate more and more. So Bitcoin was at 40, 50,000 at that point. It's now getting to the point where if they were generating the same amount or haven't really been growing their hash rate, Bitcoin going up to 100,000, it's basically 100% increase. And from where it came, that's just now getting the miners back to where they were pre-halving. So you have to also take that into consideration as well, which a lot of people overlooked that, I think. What else do we have here? Question, looking for questions here. All right, question, here we go. Jerome Powell is saying we can't hold Bitcoin as a Federal Reserve. Is the difference between either we see a 1x or a 4x in Bitcoin in 2025? You think this would change with Trump when he comes in? Yeah, I think it will. They're going to have to change the laws there a little bit, update the laws, but I think it's definitely doable. We'll have to wait and see how long it takes. I think he'll probably maybe he'll get it done within like the first 100 days of office. We'll see. Bitfarms or Hive? For growth reasons, I would say Bitfarms. They both are great operators there, but I think Bitfarms has more growth, right? They're targeting 21 exahash next year. Hive is only targeting about 13 or so. And then Bitfarms is looking to get to like maybe 35 exahash, possibly sometime by late 2025, early 2026 as well. So there's more growth there. I think that might be a better play. And they're also building out more in the United States, which I think might be a good thing. And if they actually move operations or move headquarters to the United States, I think that might be even a good thing there as well. All right. Let's see if we got anything. Question: job closed at 21 cents with no debt with 18. I'm not sure what that one is. Okay. Question: frustrating thing is altcoins, Coinbase, MicroStrategy, ETFs have gone 2 to 3x, but for miners, we are waiting. First-time investor and testing our patience. Yeah, if you haven't been through this before, it's definitely going to test your patience on these guys here. And again, I go back to, you have to look at what has transpired. You had the halving event, cut the revenue in half overnight, basically, right? That's going to have a big impact on the stocks for usually quite a few months, like it typically does. We're only, what are we now, 6 months past the halving event? It's been April, so maybe a little more than that, 7-8 months or something like that we've had the halving event. So it's having an impact on these guys, and they should start now doing much better with Bitcoin being double from where it was back then, and going forward as well. Okay, especially some of the guys that have been growing quite a bit. Some of these guys are getting close to where they were actually mining the same amount like they were last year at this point, even after the halving event. That's an amazing job of growth. So that has to be considered as well. But patience is definitely key here. Let's see. Fat Ninja, I kind of agree with you. Kind of. They hired Anthony, I think, to pump the stock there a little bit as well. That's definitely had an impact on it also, I think. Okay, there you go. How are the miners' performance compared to pre-halving? Are they making more money, or are they still around pre-halving levels? No, they're making more money, actually. If we look at the levels here now, from where they were pre-halving, there's quite a few that are making more money than they did, I believe. And maybe we'll do that in tomorrow's video. We'll take a look at where they were pre-halving and where they are right now. So like where they were in April and March of this year to compare to where they are now after the halving event. Let's see here. Terry says, yeah, last cycle miners went sideways like now. Yeah, I agree. Do you think we will see more dilution from miners? That would be suicide, especially after Cleanspark said they will avoid it. No, if you got a chance to listen to Zach and Gary V of Cleanspark on the miner pod, they went basically into it. They said that they're not looking to do any kind of ATMs here in the time being. They are actually looking to do maybe another convertible debt in the next maybe year or something like that if they need to. So we will see. Bills fans ask, are you the president of Poop Spark? Nope. Okay, I think I've cut to all you guys' questions here. So I think we'll call it a day. I'm going to go maybe watch a movie here for the first time in a while. Kind of nice to get things done a little bit early. But we'll see what tomorrow brings us, right? It's not the end of the world. Bitcoin's down. Miners were down today. It's not like we haven't seen this before as well. We still have a ways to go here in 2025. 25 should be really good for us, I believe, still wholeheartedly, actually, because of all the adoption that I'm seeing here. Hopefully you guys are seeing the same thing as well. So I wouldn't be too concerned, at least not yet. All right, but that's it. I really appreciate you guys coming in here. Love you all. I hope you guys have a great night, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.